Hey everybody, what is going on, and welcome back here to the channel at Staycation for another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video. So today I'm going to be giving you guys some tips on how to up your game and win more gun battles, because there's a lot of common mistakes people make in this game that I want to address. And then also with the addition of all the new players at Christmas, I'm not going to call them Christmas news, but like I'm going to call them it. There's some things you guys can improve on. So if you guys like today's video, please make sure you drop one down below, subscribe to the channel if you're on already, and turn on those bell notifications if you never want to miss another one of these cool videos. So without further ado guys, let's hop right into it. Easy go. Alrighty guys, so today we're going to be looking at a total of 5 tips you guys can hopefully implement into your game to make yourself overall better and more consistent Call of Duty players. Now, these tips are not going to get you to another level of Call of Duty right away. Like everything else in life, it's all about practice. As long as you guys are playing and implementing these tips into your playstyle, practicing in custom games, practicing in private matches, you will become better. But like I said, these are tips. It's one thing to know something and another thing to practice it. So you guys need to practice it if you want to get better. So let's get right into the first tip, okay? So for a lot of you veteran Call of Duty players, you may already know this one, but it's a great refresher if you haven't heard it in a while. But for you newer Call of Duty players, if you don't already know, this game has 150 health per life, okay? And this is without any buffs, like, because there's some specialist abilities that can raise it, there's body armor. But at your base health, you have 150 health. This is 50 more health than other previous Call of Duties. In other previous Call of Duties, you normally have 100. So you're going to be having to aim onto your targets for a lot longer, and you're much more susceptible to taking damage because you're in gunfights for longer. So this is where you need to practice using your stim shot, okay? It needs to become second nature, and you guys need to practice it every single time you're out of a gunfight or a gun situation. You need to be replenishing your stim shot, okay? Now, this goes hand in hand with choosing your gunfights properly, because now that we've established a proper technique to constantly replenish your health after every gunfight and make sure you're ready for the next, it comes down to making sure you're not jumping into battles you can't win regardless. So like I said, it has 150 health in this game instead of 100. So chances are, if you run and jump around a corner and try to take on 3 guys against 1, I mean, in previous Call of Duties, you might have been able to pull this off because previous Call of Duties are just crazy, but this one is a lot more realistic in a health sense. So you're not going to be able to win that gunfight. You have to play your gunfight smarter. So if you do see people coming around a corner, just stay around that corner and let them come to you, or run away, get out of there, get back up, get your friends to help you with that gunfight. Ultimately, it just comes down to being an overall smarter decision maker when choosing what you think you can and cannot win. So that's going to do it for tip number 1, guys. It's going to come down to proper use of your stim shot directly after you leave a gunfight, and then ultimately just choosing your gunfight smarter, not putting yourself into a lose-lose situation. Now, moving on to tip number 2, and this is going to be pre-aiming. Now, pre-aiming isn't always exactly what you think it is. It's not always putting down your sights around a corner, because this ultimately puts you at a disadvantage as well. If you're constantly having your sights aimed down, you're going to be moving a lot slower, you're going to have a lot less peripheral vision, and you're just going to be more susceptible to getting attacked by enemies without being aware. So, as you guys can see on screen here, pre-aiming is ultimately just making sure that you always have the center of your screen lined to where you think enemies could potentially be coming from. But this is not to say that you cannot pre-aim with your sights down, because in certain situations it will play you to more benefit to have your sights already down when someone pops around the corner. But when you're floating about and roaming around the map, it's not good to be walking at that slow speed with less peripheral vision. So that is going to do it for tip number 2, guys. All right, but this is also going to translate into tip number 3, which is all about angles. Okay, angles and how you approach everything in this game is extremely important. Now, I'm going to repeat that word one more time just in case you guys didn't hear me correctly, and I said angles. Now, if you're wondering what that means, it's when you're running around the map and you're pre-aiming, you have your sights to where you think your opponents could be. ultimately where you run around is even more important on top of that, because if you're running down the middle of the map, or whatever lane you push, the middle, the left, the right, whatever map it is, okay, and you're running down the dead center, not taking advantage of sources of cover on that map, you're putting yourself once again at a disadvantageous spot to get killed. Okay, so when you're running around, as you guys can see on screen here, I'm hugging corners tightly, so this way if an enemy is to be seen, I am the last one who's going to be spotted. I will have them in my sights first, because once again we're taking our last tip and we're pre-aiming and having the middle of our screen to where we think our enemies could be. Now that you pre-aimed, we're also hugging these corners tightly, so we're going to see them before they see us. Now these two tips combined, guys, are an ultimate deal right here. This is going to help you win a ton of gunfights, but once again, you have to practice it. You have to be implementing this into your game style, because unless you're doing it, it's not going to be working for you. All right, so that does it for tip number 3. So far we've run through stim shot and choosing your gunfights properly. All right, then we touched on angles, and then we touched on pre-aiming properly. All right, so those are in-game tips that can really help you elevate your game. But now I'm going to take it more so into the technical side and get deep into our settings. All right, so this is a common one, but it's one that's not stressed enough, okay? And I really need you guys to focus in on it, and that's finding your proper sensitivity. Okay, I still to this day play with my sensitivity, and if you guys think you found the perfect sensitivity, you're probably wrong, because there's benefits to both. Now if you're rocking a lower sensitivity and you find yourself losing more gunfights because people are swerving around you, you're not able to keep up with the camera, and ultimately you're not getting really outgunned, you're just losing because they're moving faster than you are, then I suggest that if you're already comfortable with aiming at that sensitivity, you bump it up notch by notch until you feel like you're on the brink or edge of your uncomfortable zone, and you work at it and you get better at that sensitivity. Because now, like I said, there's benefits to playing at a lower sensitivity, which is a more controlled aim for the unveteran user. But as you get better and better, there's more advantageous benefits to using a higher sensitivity, which is more mobility and higher camera speed. Now, once you're ready to move up and you've finally taken that jump to increase your sensitivity, for example, I've been playing at 6 for a long time, but now just recently I've decided to bump it up to 8. Now you're going to see a variety of new benefits. I've realized that since my aim is already a bit more on control, I'm able to swerve around, zoom around, jump over, and still keep my sights on the target with this higher sensitivity. Okay, so these are all the benefits of finding your proper sensitivity, because depending on how you play, okay, it's gonna fit your play style better. Now moving on to our last and final tip, guys, we are going to touch on controller layout, because there are a ton of controller layouts, and I found that when I finally found my most comfortable controller layout, I was then able to play to my max potential. Now, I'm going to recommend to you guys probably the 2 best controller layouts you could possibly use, and that is going to be tactical. So this enables you to put the melee button up on the control pad in terms of like the X, square, triangle, circle buttons, and then it's going to move your slide action all the way down to your right joystick. So you're never going to have to take your thumb off the joystick to do the slide, your sprint, or your look around capabilities, which is very beneficial because being able to slide and maneuver is really good. But if you've gotten that down pat and you've already been playing on tactical, I do have one more suggestion for you, and this is the one that really took me to the next level when I was playing Call of Duty way back when. Okay, so once I had the basics and the fundamentals of the game down pat and I was able to lock onto my targets and aim successfully very consistently, I then decided to change my controller layouts all the way to stick and move. Okay, stick and move, guys, is with the last controller layout all the way to the very right side, and this allows you to not slide with the right joystick but to jump. Okay, so this jumping capability, if you guys don't already know, I mean, mobility is a huge part of the game, like I said. So when you're able to run around and you're able to jump and shoot and aim at your targets all at the same time, this gives you a huge advantage over your opponents. For example, if we are in a gunfight, me and another opponent, we've both taken our proper angles, we've both pre-aimed, we both have very, very good aim, but he's using a tactical layout and I'm using a stick and move. All right, once again, the stick and move is going to take practice because it's definitely a jump in terms of being able to hit your targets while moving and in there at the same time. But for opponents, when you're jumping, it's extremely difficult to still be on track with your shots. This is why the jumping capability is so strong, because it makes it difficult for people to aim onto you. So if we've done all these circumstances properly, it's an even gunfight, but I'm jumping and hitting my targets and he's a standing still target, more than likely this is going to put you on top and help you win the gunfight. All right, so these were 5 tips that will help you become a better and more consistent Call of Duty player, guys. I honestly really hope you guys learned something from this video. You found it very informative and are gonna apply these tips to your gameplay, because I promise you, if you practice them, you will become a better Call of Duty player. Okay, I've become a much Call of Duty player from these. So in the comment section below, guys, I really want you to comment down your KD right now, and then after you've practiced these tips, come back a week, 2 weeks, a month, even a year from now, okay, and let me know what your KD is after you've implemented these tips into your game. Thank you guys for watching today. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, please make sure you drop a like down below. It really does help me out. I appreciate it so much. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss informative and cool videos just like this one, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed here at Staycation. Peace out.